Cool. Went down to a rich man's house and he took back what was stole from me.
So we're gonna tuck into this. We're gonna tuck into this. I want to say thank you so much to our elders for their wonderful testimonies, their very powerful testimonies. So my name is Mia, and it feels so strange to say that nearly 4 years have passed since I first heard about the walkouts, because I so vividly remember the first day of my 10th grade African American history class, sitting down as my teacher spoke of the heroic acts of school-aged children. Her slideshow presentation on why these children were the reason I was enrolled in that course ingrained itself so comfortably in my mind that I began to assume that this was common knowledge. However, as the year progressed and our mission to secure the market developed, I was confronted with how underrepresented this moment in our city's history truly was. Beyond elders who had participated in this walkout and a handful of scholars, many of the people I introduced our project to hadn't any clue that the walkouts had ever occurred. So many that we as a team had unintentionally memorized a sort of script. We used it to introduce our project to those interested. But the more I found myself reciting the spiel, the more I began to wonder, why was this pivotal event so hidden? Why did I find myself reciting this script even to my peers who had supposedly taken African American history? I came to believe that the answers to these questions were rooted in the same word, access. It became clear that I had only learned about the walkouts and other pivotal moments in our nation's history because I had an extraordinary teacher dedicated to not relying on district-mandated textbooks and lesson plans. She instead chose to compile primary sources and the works of generations of scholars. And as grateful as I am for her efforts, access to African American history should not be dependent on a teacher's level of dedication. Nor should it be diluted within the pages of dilapidated district-mandated textbooks. Because we are living in an unprecedented time. We are witnessing the technological revolution of education as a result of this pandemic. COVID-19 forced us to evaluate the educational limitations we had placed on ourselves. It forced us to reimagine and modernize. But we are not only at a technological frontier, but also a social awakening. The murders and police brutality that have plagued our society for centuries were brought to light yet again during this pandemic, prompting yet a new wave of social activism. This activism did not spare our classrooms, as we see initiatives such as the 1619 Project and critical race theory. And within a school district that is nearly 50% Black, there is no doubt that this social shift was felt within student bodies across the city. With all circumstances considered, it is more than apparent that now is the time for adjustment. Our history deserves to be explored in a manner engaging and factual. We have advancing technological knowledge and an increasing social aptitude. More of an effort should be put into utilizing these tools to create interactive online resources, to replenish our classroom materials and textbooks, to update our expectations of those teaching African American history. Courses on our history should be conducted beyond a mandated manner, because this history is more than just a graduation requirement. It is the backbone of our nation, it is accountability, and it is culture.
Unsettling thoughts, and we are powerful anew. Unsettling thoughts, and we are here anew. Unsettling thoughts for liberation, and we have nothing to lose but and we have nothing to lose because we're anew. Unsettling thoughts, and we are anew. Unsettling thoughts, and we are anew. Unsettling thoughts for and we have nothing to lose but and we have nothing to lose because we're a new unsettling force and we are a new unsettling force and we're a new unsettling force and we have nothing to lose and we have nothing to lose and we have nothing to lose. And
single page. No, there had to be more. I've seen too much Black greatness, too much Black grandness within my own life to simply sit down and let myself believe that there weren't stories upon stories of Black history somewhere in history. But there was still the issue of having no one who was willing to share those stories with me. Who would? The teachers who microaggressed me and other Black students certainly wouldn't be. It was by partaking in this project that I learned that I wasn't alone in these experiences. I know that the students who participated in the 1967 walkouts felt the same way. They too felt confused and isolated by the Eurocentric history that they were taught year after year. They too were made to feel small by teachers who couldn't understand or respect their deep desire for cultural ties. And so it brought me great joy to learn of the Black educators who supported these students in their pursuit of knowledge. The community leaders who supported the youth activists while they made their demands. All of the Black adults who looked at these Black children and told them they were not worth a paragraph, they were not worth a page, they were worth an entire textbook, and an entire textbook they would one day receive. The day I was able to finally look up from my textbook and see a face that looked like mine looking back is the day that everything changed for me. I'm thankful for the Black educators like them who didn't shy away from sharing all aspects of our story. I'm thankful for the Black educators here with us today, and it's my great pleasure to introduce one of them. Miss Keziah Ridgway, who's also an activist, mother, and wife, was born and raised right here in Philadelphia. Having graduated with a bachelor's degree in history from Temple University and a master's degree in secondary education from St. Joseph's University, she now paves the way for Black students in the city she calls home. She serves as a mentor in her capacity as a non-student representative of the Philly Black Students Alliance and is a member of the Racial Justice Organizing Committee. She teaches African American history and IB Social and Cultural Anthropology at Northeast High School. She was recognized for all of her hard work in 2020 when she was selected as an awardee for the Lindback Award for Distinguished Teaching. Miss Ridgway, I know because of you, so many Black students know that they are beautiful, they are brilliant, and they are the bright light that will come in our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Ridgway. As we come to the end of our program, our state marker group just wanted to thank a number of people. Thank you first and foremost to our family members and the friends who supported us, constantly driving us out to our houses, to all the archives. We want to thank all the donors who helped put money forward to put up this beautiful marker that we see in a moment. And I guess thank you to my mom and her office for all their support, especially Eva, Andres, and Jordan. And thank you to the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission. I also want to thank this group behind me. 2 years ago, when we launched this project, I knew I could not do this alone at all. So when we were just sophomores, calling, texting, just yesterday, it feels like we were just sitting next to each other as high school students. Although I'm not too sure at the time if any of us knew what we were getting into. And so for 4 months, we embarked on this project, and after practices, after school activities, we trekked out to this Temple Urban Archives with the help of archivist John Pettit, did interviews with people across the country like ethnic studies movement leader Nathan Hare, Matthew Countryman, visited Professor Crystal Strong, and reached out to the Black History Collaborative and teachers like Yassine Muhammad and Ishmael Jimenez. There was no part of this story that we could not learn. We were insatiable for information about this walkout. Learning something new inspired us every time. Those 4 months were filled with tons of work, but lots and lots and lots of food. Shout out to my mom. Stories and laughter. This process was joyful. It was a joyful work in highlighting a history that deserves to be told and celebrated. Independent projects like these allow us to enrich our collective knowledge and diversify the voices of history. I'm honored to introduce the chair of the PA Historical Museum Commission, Nancy Moses, and Commissioner Ophelia Chambliss, and Senator Tim Kearney. Thank you.
Not only is this important to Philadelphia, it's important to Pennsylvania, it's important to this country, because this marker, just like the 1967 walkout and protests, is the Black American experience. I think it's even more important to see the group of young people who brought this to fruition. It's even more important to see the diversity in the group of young people that brought this to fruition. I cannot thank them, you, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and this entire process for bringing this here today. Keeping my comments brief, but again, a round of applause for the students. Thank you. And may we have more of these so that we don't have to keep digging into the archives to tell these stories, and that we go forward in telling these truths.
Thank you, Ophelia. Good afternoon. I'm State Senator Tim Kearney. I came here from Delaware County. And I'm proud to be here on behalf of the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I sit on this commission, which is one of the bright spots in terms of the work that we do in Harrisburg. I think it's fitting to be here because I sit on the Education Committee in the Senate, and these fights that Josh described earlier are fights that are ongoing. Pretty much every day we are in Harrisburg. It's also important because I'm the Democratic Vice Chair of the Appropriations Committee with Chairman Vincent Hughes, my friend, whose office is here, I believe. And we fight the money battles too at the same time. And the money battles and the education battles are interwoven in ways that we can't, that aren't necessarily always obvious. But they're fights that are ongoing, and I love being at an event where young people like this embolden us, remind us why we're doing it, keep us strong in the fight for what we're actually trying to do. So it's so important to confront America's racist history and to lift up the stories of people who fought for justice, like the students, who came here 55 years ago, from city residents to the millions of annual tourists and suburbanites come into the city. We must learn about how state violence and structural racism have manifested. All Americans should celebrate the lives and the legacy of people who fought and are still fighting for justice, equality, and equity. For the past few years, the Commission's been making good efforts through its Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Access initiative to provide more factual, comprehensive, and truer understandings of our state history by reviewing our own markers, revising, retiring them as warranted. Moreover, we're encouraging nominations for markers for underrepresented subjects and events. The recent movement for Black Lives has shown more people than ever that white supremacy is sadly alive and well and needs to be dismantled by challenging the dominant narrative of our history with facts. We're not revising history, we are unearthing it. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. Now I introduce Nancy Moses.
This is an inspiring day for me. It is a great pleasure to represent the Governor of Pennsylvania and my colleagues who work and serve on the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission. I'm very honored to help dedicate this particular marker for Philadelphia's 1967 Black Student Walkout. I'll give you just a minute on the marker program. It's been around for about 100 years. Only about 2,500 proposals have made it through our rigorous process. I don't think I've ever seen a presentation more comprehensive or in-depth or inspired than the one that brought us here to this marker today. Good work. As Senator Kearney said, we need more historical markers honoring the African American experience, the experience of people of color, the experience of people of all ethnicities. We need more for the Commonwealth because our history is very long and very rich, and I think we serve as a model for history done right in Pennsylvania that we can show the nation and the world. This marker is an excellent company. There are now official markers to Malcolm X in this city, to Billie Holiday in this city, to the slave trade, Octavio Cato, Negro baseball, to the Dixie Hummingbirds, all in the city. And outside the city, there are markers in Pittsburgh honoring August Wilson, the Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, and most recently to Fighter 7, Muhammad Ali's training camp, which is in Schuylkill County in the Poconos. So you're well aware of the history. So instead, I'm going to speak for a minute about its meaning. For those who lived the 1968 Black Student Walkout, your lives were touched by this courageous event. As a result of efforts for more than 50 years, the education of our young people in Philadelphia have been enriched, and that history has empowered generations of young people. It has brought us many generations of African American teachers who've made such important contributions. So you are among the chosen few who can look back on your youth and know you made a difference in the world. There's something transformative about making history like you did. You can take that spirit forward. And your history, the history that you made, inspired a new generation of history writers. Tara Flaherty, Allison Fortenberry, Nia Weeks, Katina Bennett, and Aidan Gonzalez were moved by your story, your accomplishments. They dedicated themselves to shining a spotlight on the event. They worked to make sure that it would be seen and remembered on this very spot where it happened. So on behalf of all Pennsylvanians, all Philadelphians, I thank you. I thank those of you who made this history, and I thank those of you who wrote their history. This marker celebrates the past, it celebrates the present, but to my mind, it also celebrates the future. I can imagine in 20 years, in another 50 years, maybe in another 100 years, that your children, your great-grandchildren, will come by here, they will stop by this official historic marker, they'll read the inscription, and they will learn the difference that the brave Black students of 1967 made here, and they will find inspiration in that example. Thank you so much.
Okay, everyone, now is the moment we've all been waiting for, the unveiling of our state markers. So if everyone could just gather around.
It's stuck.
Stuck?
Right. Yay!
Okay, ready? 1, 2, woo!
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and count out. You will not be able to. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution.
Look up, guys! Look up! Look up! Look up! Good job, good job.
I was one of the first, it was a predominantly white school at that time. Back then they had a voluntary desegregation program which allowed your parents to transfer you from your black school to a predominantly white school. So my mother transferred. So my mother transferred me from Strawberry Mansion to Harding Junior High School. I had to take 3 buses there. There were several of us from North Philly, some of us from Germantown and Oak Lane that went to that school. There were also black students that were from the neighborhood, but they didn't really want us who came from North Philadelphia. They let the teachers and the administration let us know that we were not wanted. They treated us very badly. They did not grade us properly. Every springtime, the adults, the white adults from the neighborhood would come to the school with dogs to sick on us. When we tried to run back into the school, the principal would lock the door so we could not come back in. So we were at the, he just threw us to the mob. Grown people attacking little children. I was like 11 years old when I started at that school, 13 in the 9th grade. So the brothers from Malcolm X High School, which was Benjamin Franklin High School, but they renamed it Malcolm X, came to our school like about 2 weeks before to tell us, you need to join this protest. They say, you know how y'all are being treated here? Don't be Uncle Tom. Come on, be there. So the day that the walkout was happening, the administration got wind of it and they locked all the doors so that we couldn't get out. But most of the students were afraid, but I'm a child of Chicago, I'm afraid of nothing. So me and 3 other sisters from the school, none of the guys went, 3 other sisters, we were like, we're getting out of the school because we tired of the way they treated us. So we found the door, they couldn't lock all the doors, we found the door and got out, and we started walking down Torresdale Avenue. Because we could not wait for the trolley because the cops will pick you up because you're not supposed to be out there doing, when you're supposed to be in school. So we walked down, we kept walking and walking until we got to about 2nd and Erie, and a trolley came. We jumped on that trolley, got down to Gordon Erie, took the subway down, and got off and walked down here. And when we got here, all the students were here. I mean, from Torresdale and Wakeling to 2nd and Erie, that's a long way. But we were determined. We were tired of the way they were treating us, and we were determined to come here. So we got here, and all the students were here. They also had cops on horses. And when Rizzo said, get their asses, those cops on horses railed down on us. Unfortunately, I did not get hit by a nightstick, but there was reasons that we were
unsettling force, and we are powerful anew. Unsettling force, and we are here anew. Unsettling force for liberation, and we have nothing to lose but and we have nothing to lose because we're anew. Unsettling force, and we are anew. Unsettling force, and we are anew. Unsettling force for and we have nothing to lose, but can we have nothing to lose? Cause we're new. unsettling force, and we are a new unsettling force, and we're a new unsettling force, and we have nothing to lose, 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 but
Cool. Went down to the rich man's house and he took back what was stole from me.
So we're gonna tuck into the street back here. Walk over here.
Transition from this march
Walk over here. Into the street. Walk